Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, disaster at Reno Air Races barely averted. The Air Force names its new long-range strike bomber. Delaware passes restrictive UAV law. Hello, I'm Christopher C. Odom. It's September 21st, 2016, and this is Airborne Unlimited. Formula One race pilot Tom Richert has an immensely powerful rabbit's foot, and whatever he wants for it, we'll pay it. During the Formula One Gold Race operations at the Reno Races this past weekend, Richert was lined up on the runway in a formation-style takeoff with the aircraft in front of him and behind him. Engine problems occurred which resulted in his shutting down, and he signaled ground crews that he was unable to make the takeoff. That should have prevented other aircraft from beginning their takeoff roll, but it didn't work. Richert was struck from behind by another aircraft already well into its takeoff roll. The video tells that story, and Richert said in part, "I'm not the slightest bit upset over the accident. I in fact consider myself a very lucky man. Another 4 feet to the left and I would have been mincemeat, literally, dodging a bullet. A busted up hand is a small price to pay. I'll take it. It'll heal." The other pilot was not injured, but airplane parts were scattered everywhere. As the Air Force continues to move ahead with its new long-range strike bomber, it has now been announced that the bomber has been named the B-21 Raider. Air Force Secretary Deborah Lee James announced the results of the Air Force Global Strike Command-led naming contest alongside selected members during her remarks at the Air Force Association's Airspace and Cyber Conference held earlier this week. The name was ultimately selected by James and Air Force Chief and Staff General Dave Goldfein after a panel determined the top-ranked selections from more than 2,100 unique naming submissions. The B-21 Raider design, which is based on a set of requirements that allow the use of existing and mature technology, is currently in the engineering and manufacturing development phase, and the Air Force plans to field the initial capability of the aircraft in mid-2020s. After the break, Delaware law defines unlawful use of a UAV.
Concorde's recombinant gas RG series sealed battery technology produces a high-performance battery with the advantages of being pre-tested and fully charged at the factory. Find out more about Concorde's entire line of batteries at www.concordebattery.com. Concorde, the heart of your aircraft.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
Since the early days of powered flight, pilots have struggled with landing in crosswinds. In fact, crosswinds and wind gusts cause more landing accidents than fog, thunderstorms, and icing combined. That's where the Redbird X-Wind SE comes in. By placing pilots in gusty crosswind conditions for extended periods of time, the X-Wind SE gives instructors all the time they need to teach the pilot the proper techniques for landing in crosswind conditions. For more information on Redbird X-Wind SE and Redbird's entire line of flight training devices, visit www.redbirdflightsimulation.com.
Welcome back. If you'd like to be a supporter of the Airborne Unlimited, send an email to jim@aero-news.net. The state of Delaware has passed, and Governor Jack Markell has signed, a new law that places strict restrictions on the flights of unmanned aerial vehicles in the state. According to the bill abstract, the bill creates the crime of unlawful use of an unmanned aircraft system. The bill prohibits unmanned aircraft systems from flying over sporting events, concerts, automobile races, festivals, events which more than 5,000 people are in attendance, and critical infrastructure in the state of Delaware. Violators of the statute could be prosecuted under misdemeanor charges or felony charges if an injury is involved. The bill also provides a definition of an unmanned aircraft. The bill passed both houses of the legislature with nearly unanimous support. It remains to be seen how this new state law will fit in with the newly issued FAA regulations regarding small UAS operation. With some 2,000 Aero-TV programs webcast to cyberspace, sometimes it can be fun to look back and enjoy some of the places we've seen, the flyers we've met, and the planes we've flown. Here's a look at one of our favorite Aero-TV classic episodes.
So ECO Great little 2-axis autopilot with the ability to do also a really neat new feature in Autopilot world, which we call AEP, Automatic Envelope Protection.
The world of autopilots has always seemed high-tech and expensive. In this video, you'll find a fascinating new product design for home-built aircraft that is simple, high-tech, and surprisingly affordable. Search TrueTrack's Eco on Aero-TV's news channel. After these messages, NATA sticks with Hiller as president.
The Bristol light sport aircraft is what you are looking for. The Bristol is wider than a Cirrus, faster than a Skyhawk, offers more storage than a Husky, and comes standard with Garmin avionics. So what are you waiting for? Visit Bristol.com to find out how you can get into a Bristol today.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
The aviation industry is full of news, and we're summarizing a few of those other great stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. The National Air Transportation Association announced that Martin Hiller, who is the owner and partner of Marathon Jet Center in Marathon, Florida, will continue to serve as president of the NATA. Hiller had been serving as acting president since June of this year. The Brooke Owens Fellowship Program has been established to offer paid internships at leading aviation and space companies and organizations for exceptional women seeking their undergraduate degree. The program honors the legacy of space industry pioneer and accomplished pilot Dawn Brooke Owens. Flight Training Alliance's first full-flight simulator from Bombardier's new C-Series aircraft was unveiled during an inauguration held in Frankfurt, Germany. Flight Training Alliance is Bombardier's sole approved training provider for the C-Series aircraft other than the manufacturer. PowerVision Technology Group has introduced the PowerEye, which is an all-in-one flying camera designed for cinematographers. The dual viewing feature gives multiple users the ability to see video simultaneously from a first-person view and a subject matter view. A new app for iOS mobile devices has been introduced to give pilots a fast and simple way to convert coordinates mid-flight, along with other functions. The GPS coordinate converter from Aviation mobile apps is available from the Apple App Store. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Now let's get back to the rest of the news. According to a report, the FAA has been slow to implement the 35 safety recommendations made by the National Transportation Safety Board following the ditching of the U.S. Airways Flight 1549 in the Hudson River in January of 2009. The Associated Press reports that according to this research, 14 of the recommendations were rejected by the agency as being unacceptable, and one has been withdrawn. Of those remaining, only 6 of the recommendations have been implemented, according to the report. The Associated Press cites as examples recommendations that would require all airliners to be equipped with life rafts and flotation devices rather than letting the airlines decide which airplanes would have them installed. They also recommended the relocation of certain flotation devices and changes in pilot training. The mandate of the NTSB is to investigate and make recommendations when appropriate, but not to regulate. It's up to the FAA to decide which NTSB recommendations should be moved into the FAA mandated changes to aircraft or changes to operating procedures. It is not unusual for the FAA to cite reasons for not complying with the NTSB recommendations. Well, that's our program for today. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily, Monday through Friday, with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and do check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Keep flying. We'll see you tomorrow.